Today's how-to video is going to be how to maintain your FX4 canister filter down here, which is hands down my favorite out of all the ones I've used so far. You should definitely do some maintenance on it, like every month or two at the very least. I noticed last week when I pulled out water out of this tank that the water was coming out a little slower than it does whenever it's really clean, and the output normally will shoot quite a bit harder than that. It gives good circulation for your tank. And I already pulled out half the water in this 75 gallon, and you can see like this filter keeps this turtle tank. It has two Australian pink belly side necks, Koopa and Troopa in here, and this filter hands down is perfect for this tank. It keeps it very, very clean. It shuts off like once a night for about a minute, pushes all the air out, and then restarts every 12 hours. And so far, I've already pulled out 3 buckets of water, which we're going to use outside here in a few minutes. And I'm just going to show you how I do it. Many people do it a different way, but this is how I watched the video, and I'm going to show you how I do it today. All right. So first of all, is this guy right here. It's a beast. First, we want to pull the power out. So let's go. Ooh, I'm gonna turn the power off. Next, you have your in and out. You want to close them off. So close the in, close the out. Otherwise, if you don't close these, it'll start siphoning water right back into that in tube. You'll have a mess down here. So one key thing you want is a towel, because as you're gonna see right here, when you unclip the bottom parts and pull the in and out off, a little bit of water is there, and if you're there to catch it with the towel, it'll prevent you from getting a little mess to clean up later. All right, so once these are off though, no more water will come in and out. So first of all, let's pull out the end. Just do it slow. There's a button here on the side. A little bit of water. Just let it hang. Same thing on this side. You want to do it easy because there are some gaskets there that'll pop every once in a while that you might have to replace, but they should be fine because this thing is relatively new. All right, so our in and out is disconnected, and we just want to move it out. Let's pull this guy out of here, and we'll go outside, and I'll show you the rest of the process and how easy it really is to keep these things maintained. All right, see you outside. All right, we're back outside. So, try to do this pretty quick, show you how fast it can be done. We got 2 of our 3 buckets right here. Nice Texas 5-gallon buckets I found at Lowe's the other day. These are going to be our 2 rinse buckets. We're going to take each piece, take it apart, rinse, and then we're going to put it all back together. And then our 3rd bucket is going to be how we fill our, we prime this thing back up by putting a couple gallons or a gallon and a half back into it. So the way I do it is, I saw some other guys say you want to take off, do it kind of like you do a wheel, taking it off and taking it on, do them opposite ends. Nice little spin, this went out pretty quick. And they just fold down. All right, now we're ready to open this thing up. We got our backup, our 2 pieces we're gonna replace today right here, and we got our towel so we can clean up afterwards. So let's take the lid off, and you want to keep, what I learned the first time is you definitely want to keep kind of track of the first couple times of what it looks like when you open it, because it will get confusing and you might forget which way it goes. And you're going to see these sponges should be white, but I can already tell this thing is filthy. So got our lid here, got an intake tube. Just put this off to the side. On the ground's fine. And you have a basket. The FX4 has a 2-tier basket. The FX6 has a 3-tier, and you can tell this thing is filthy. Like, it's taken that water to go through right there, the top part that we're going to replace right here. The biofoam, you can tell, like if it was clean, the water would go through a lot faster, which is definitely preventing the output that you could see earlier. So first, since I'm not keeping this, I guess let's take it apart first. You can see it. It's got these little red handles. So pull it out, let the water kind of drain through so it doesn't make a mess, even though it's going to be messy. And these things, they pop off. You got your two of these, keep the basket together. Put these off to the side. Now we're replacing, this thing has 2 tiers. I'm a shadow. This thing has 2 tiers, 1, 2. We're gonna replace this. We're just gonna toss this out of the way today. We're not gonna keep that guy. And then we're gonna have, at the end, after done cleaning, we'll put this guy back in. And this right here, it's the pad that goes on the very bottom. It's the carbon pad on the very bottom. You'll see in a second. We'll toss that box up to the side. Now with this water, since we have 2 buckets already, we don't need this water, so we're gonna dump it out. And if you didn't know, watering your plants, which is what I just did with that bucket of water, is like super watering your plants because of all the nitrates that's in there. Okay, so first of all, we got 2 layers. There's 2 bags of media in these things, unless you messed with it and added more. You have 1 bag, you can see how filthy that is. You just toss that one in this bucket for right now. And then each section has its own filter pad. So we're gonna toss this one. I normally do 1 section at a time. And you can tell these things are normally white. You can replace these also, but like they last for quite a while and they hold a bunch of beneficial bacteria. So you don't want to replace them that often. You definitely wouldn't want to replace them all at once. You can see this water's filthy. So you can tell it's cleaner. It's impossible to get it back to white once you start using these things. But that's one pretty much done. Here's the second one. You just rinse it with your hands. Just sponging it out. The second one. We got our bag of media down here. I just move it around a lot. The reason you want to use, the reason you have to use current aquarium water is because it keeps all the beneficial bacteria alive. If you just use like sink water or something that hadn't been cycled, it can definitely kill all this beneficial bacteria, which will restart your tank. You see, pretty clean enough. Now, the one thing I do wash with normal water, just because I use my sprayer. I use this sprayer right here, and I wash this guy off. It just makes it so much easier. Pretty clean. Let's do the second basket. Get that bag of media before it goes in. Give it a nice little rinse-a-roo. See? Clean. Still holding all your beneficial bacteria you need. Throw that in our side bucket. This right here, I don't know if you can see it, underneath this pad, underneath this little basket thing, this is the other piece that totally, when it gets nasty, it says to replace them monthly. I normally do it every other time, but this definitely prevents the water from, the output from running like it should. Toss that because we're gonna replace that guy today. Let's clean these 2 sponges. I've run these filters on like very highly stocked cichlids before, and you don't have to do this nearly as much. These turtles literally are what makes this thing so nasty. Do your second one. Still brown, but looking way better. Now we can get rid of this bucket for right now. Just keep it off to the side. If you do have plants, this is when I would say keep this bucket off to the side. And let's clean up with our hose. Clean up the other two baskets real quick. Got this piece. Got this basket. From what I understand, these plastic pieces don't hold the beneficial bacteria like the sponges and the other media, so you're okay to rinse that off. You can totally do it in your tank water. I just have a hard time getting it clean doing it in the tank water buckets. It's just way quicker. So, got our baskets ready. We got our new parts right here. We got our clean pieces we took out that we're going to reuse. Let's give this thing a little spray. All right, let's put it back together. This was our top. This was our bottom. So I'll give it just a little more of a rinse one last time in here. Put our new piece down here in the bottom. New piece down to the bottom. We need one of our bags of media. Actually, that doesn't go there. Media right here. I just build it from the bottom back up. One. A little extra squeeze, two. See, my shadow's not killing this video. The top basket, put these sponges back in. One last bag of media. Biofoam back on top. Oh, we're ready to go. Let's sit down there well. Got our basket ready. Let's put our two clipped red handles back in. Yeah. Ready to go. I spray out the FX4 itself also with the hose. It's just plastic down there. That doesn't hold too much beneficial either. And one of the inlets is the in right here by the pump's already in there. So you want to slide it in. Now, what you don't want to forget that I forget all the time to do before is you want to prime it. So with tank water, with your third bucket of tank water, we want to put like 1.5 gallons in here and prime it. So when we turn it back on, it's ready to roll. Careful, you don't want to overfill it. All right. Should be good to go. Now, put the actual lid back on. Slide the end tube right here into that hole. The other one lines up on the other side, and then we just put this back together like I said earlier, like you would do if it was a wheel on your car. So you go opposite sides first. Let me clean this guy up out here a little bit so it's not wet inside. Plug out of the way. We should be good to go. I'm just gonna finish drying this up. See you back inside. All right, back inside. Now to put this bad boy back in place, make sure the plug is dry. Since it was outside messing around, you want to short anything out. Put this guy back in here. Don't forget which side my end's on the left, my out's on the right. I kind of have it facing toward me, so it's easy. Plug right there. All you do with this is just put your end back on, snaps in, put your out back on, snaps in. Now I make sure everything's dry on top so that once I start this thing, I can go back in a little bit and check and make sure there's no water leaking out. Because I've had it before, I didn't clean it, and then I questioned if it was slightly leaking or not. So, should be good to go. Now we want to open this back up. Now we're back to open. Hear it filling up, siphoning water in, and plug it back in. Now, I always look at it because the one time I broke when I figured out the first time about the gaskets on the inside, I realized it because water started leaking out those two things. I had to watch some YouTube videos to figure it out. So now look at our output. Now it's shooting almost across the tank again, like we want it to. And that's it. Do that once a month or every 6 to 8 weeks, and this thing will run a very long time and work perfectly for you. All right, so we're all done. We're checking to make sure this thing has no leaks. I don't see any water pooling. Looks like we're good to go. It's been running for several minutes now. I'm gonna show you one little bonus at the end that I use on all my tanks. So you see this little contraption right here? Put it up here for right now. But if and when this tank ever leaks and it gets water in here, this thing goes off. It's hooked up Bluetooth, and it triggers your phone also, so it'll let you know if like your tank's leaking. That's a little bonus tip at the end right there that I learned from someone else.